So you think your fitness tracker knows a lot about you? Well, you might want to buckle up. We're about to dive into a whole new world of tech that gets, let's just say, way more personal. We're talking about monitoring your health from places you would never, ever expect.
Yeah, and when I say unexpected, I'm not kidding. The next big thing in health tech isn't something you're going to wear on your wrist. It's in your toilet. The whole frontier of personalized health is moving past just counting steps and checking your heart rate. It's now in the most private corners of our lives, promising this non-stop data stream about what's really going on inside our bodies. All right, so let's start this journey where the latest consumer electronics show, CES, told us to look, and that's the bathroom. I know, but this is seriously where some of the most mind-blowing new wellness tech is popping up, turning things you use every single day into these super smart health monitors. And the level of intimacy here, it's just staggering. I mean, we're talking about smart toilets from companies like Vivo that literally analyze your urine. They're checking your hydration, your gut health. Some can even send an alert if an elderly family member hasn't used the bathroom in a while, which is a pretty interesting wellness check. And it doesn't stop there. There are menstrual pads designed to test for ovarian health, and even wearables that can figure out when you're having menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, automatically.
And this right here, this quote from CNET, it just hits the nail on the head. After seeing all this stuff, they asked, how much tech is too much? Especially now that it has made its way into our toilets, right? Where's the line? On one hand, these devices promise these incredible insights into our health. But on the other, you've got these huge questions about privacy and maybe even creating a new kind of health anxiety. It's a really fine line to walk, and we're definitely going to circle back to that.
Okay, so let's step out of the bathroom for a second and look at another everyday object that's getting a serious tech upgrade. Imagine this. You look in the mirror in the morning, but instead of just seeing your reflection, the mirror tells you how you are. I mean, really, truly are, right down to a biological level.
It sounds like science fiction, right? But it's real. It's called the Neurologic's Longevity Mirror. And get this, all it needs is a selfie. Just a quick picture, and it claims it can estimate your biological age. How old your body actually is on the inside. It'll give you a score on your heart health, your mental stress. It'll even assess your risk for things like cardiovascular disease. It's basically like getting a mini checkup every single time you look at yourself.
So how on earth does it do that? Well, the basic idea is surprisingly simple. It's all about analyzing the blood flow in your face. A special camera can see these super subtle, tiny changes in blood flow right under your skin. And those patterns, once you analyze them, can tell you a ton about what's going on with your health deep down.
Okay, but that still sounds a little like magic, doesn't it? How can just looking at your face or analyzing a urine sample give you this incredibly detailed health report? Well, it's not magic, it's science. So let's peel back the curtain and really dig into how this is even possible.
All right, to really get this, we have to talk about something called biosensors. Think of a biosensor as the tiny engine that makes all of this tech go. Its whole job is to find one specific biological thing and then turn that discovery into a signal that we can actually read and understand.
And what are these sensors looking for? They're looking for something called biomarkers. You can think of biomarkers as little messengers or data points from your body. It could be glucose in your blood, or stress hormones in your sweat, or certain proteins in your urine. Each one tells a tiny part of the story of what's happening with your health.
So how do we actually get to these biomarkers? I mean, the traditional way is a blood draw, right? Nobody loves that. But what's so cool about these new biosensors is that they can analyze stuff that's way easier to get. Your sweat, for example, is full of things like electrolytes and stress hormones. Your saliva can be used to measure other hormones. And then there's this stuff called interstitial fluid. It's the fluid between your cells, and it's almost as packed with information as your blood. And you can get to it with these tiny, totally painless microneedles. No big needles required.
So let's break down how a wearable biosensor actually works. It's basically a four-step process. First, it samples a bit of biofluid, like sweat. Step 2, there's a special little catcher on the sensor. It's called a biorecognition element, and its only job is to grab onto one specific biomarker. Think of it like a lock and key. Step 3, when that key fits into the lock, it creates a tiny little electrical zap, a measurable signal. And finally, step 4, that little zap gets processed and boom, sent right to your phone. It sounds simple enough, but making it actually work in the real world, well, that takes some seriously amazing material science.
And at the absolute heart of all these next-gen sensors, the secret sauce that makes them so sensitive and flexible is one truly revolutionary material. And that material is graphene.
I want you to picture this, a sheet of carbon, but it's only one single atom thick. That is graphene.
The discovery was so huge it literally won a Nobel Prize. People call it a wonder material, and for good reason. It's impossibly thin, it's stronger than steel, and it's one of the best electrical conductors we've ever found.
So what are graphene's superpowers? Why is it so perfect for these wearable sensors? Well, for starters, that amazing conductivity means it can pick up on the tiniest electrical signals from those biomarkers. It's super flexible, so you can print it on a soft patch that just moves with your skin. You'd barely know it's there. It's also biocompatible, meaning your skin is totally fine with it. And because it has this massive surface area for its size, there's tons of room for all those little biomarker catchers to hang out and do their job.
Just to give you a sense of how insanely strong this stuff is, a single layer of graphene has a tensile strength of 130 gigapascals. Now that's just a huge number, but what it means is that this material, which is only 1 atom thick, is strong enough to be worn on your body, stretching and bending all day long without ever breaking. It's incredible.
And the way they make these sensors is actually really clever. You're going to love this. Scientists basically take a regular, flexible plastic film, and then they use a CO2 laser to just draw a pattern on it, like an Etch-a-Sketch. And wherever the laser touches, the heat instantly transforms that top layer of plastic into a network of graphene. That's it. This whole technique is called laser-induced graphene, and it means they can pump out these super advanced sensors pretty easily and affordably.
Okay, wow, so we've gone all the way from a smart toilet down to the level of a single atom. Now let's zoom back out. Let's connect all this deep, heavy science back to those gadgets we started with. For example, how does a material like graphene help make a device that can actually ease period pain?
And here's where it all clicks together. Remember that Ohm-body earpiece from CES, the one designed to help with cramps? Well, the science behind it is something called neurostimulation. And what makes it work is a flexible, skin-friendly sensor powered by a material like graphene that sits comfortably on your body. It sends these super gentle electrical signals to stimulate something called the vagus nerve, and that nerve has a big impact on your menstrual cycle. See? The gadget and the science connected.
So, at the end of the day, what really feels like magic is actually just an incredible breakthrough in material science. It doesn't matter if you're analyzing hormones, checking glucose levels, or stimulating a nerve. The magic trick is this new generation of sensors that are soft, flexible, and so sensitive they can basically become one with the human body.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Now that we actually understand how this tech works, down to the atoms, we're in a much better place to tackle those big, thorny questions about what it all means and where we go from here.
Because this is really a double-edged sword, isn't it? The promise is absolutely huge. We're talking about catching diseases earlier, getting truly personalized healthcare, all without painful tests. But the flip side, the peril, is just as real. What happens to this incredibly sensitive data? Who sees it? Could being monitored 24/7 just make us more anxious about our health? And a big one, how accurate is all this stuff anyway?
And that leaves us with the one big question that we all need to start thinking about. As this technology creates this constant data stream of our most private biological information, we have to ask, who owns my data? Who gets to see it? Who gets to profit from it? The technology isn't coming. It's already here. But the conversation about how we're going to live with it, well, that's just getting started.